When did you first decide you wanted to join the military?
Well, when I was in high school, my brother went and joined. He became a pilot. I was a sophomore in high school. He went to flight school. So I started to see his career and his job, see what he was doing. So I decided in high school to go ahead and go to the Air Force Academy. And that's what I was in the Air Force Academy. Graduated high school in 1985, then graduated from the Air Force Academy in 1999. Went to pilot
See,
training.
this is a tremendous amount of buttons. Can you briefly explain the most primary functions?
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty much any airplane, it's a lot like a car in that you've got a steering wheel, which is here, and a gas pedal, which is these are the throttles here, and that's how we get the fuel. The third axis of the airplane is there's rudder pedals down here, which help the airplane go from side to side. So the steering wheel gets it up, down, left to right, and then the rudder pedals help side to side. And then the throttles here are the gas pedal, and that determines if you're going fast or slow. Obviously, there's no brakes except when we taxi on the ground. There's also on the ground, when we taxi on the ground, there's a little bit of this tiny little steering wheel here actually drives the airplane while we're on the ground. So to just fly the airplane, that's what you need is the basic flight controls. Everything else is gauges. These are the engine gauges. We have 4 engines, so we have 4 gauges. A lot of these things are in 4s. There are 4 throttles, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All these things are one for each engine, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You see 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's the pilot side over here. Then you're sitting in the co-pilot seat. So in addition to everything that I have, a full complement to fly the airplane on my side, the co-pilot can fly as well. We have another position here, which is the engineer's seat. So we have an engineer that sits here, and he runs all the stuff that's basically on the overhead panel, air conditioning, fuel panel, electrics, hydraulics. And then in the back, we also have a navigator who's in the cockpit as well. In the very back of the airplane, we have...
The other positions in the cockpit of the C-130. Are you only a pilot, or could you be a navigator or engineer?
Actually, it's a great question. Currently, I'm only a pilot. In my airline job, I was actually an engineer at one point. Now I'm a pilot as well. And in the C-130, any crew member is only assigned one position at a time. There are some people who start out as navigators and become pilots. We've had some loadmasters engineers who become navigators and pilots. But on any given assignment, a person is only assigned one job. So yes, I'm assigned as a pilot, which means I could fly in either the left seat or the right seat as either the pilot or the co-pilot.
What places has it taken you?
Oh gosh, well, not including the deployments, which we already talked about. When I flew A-10s, we would deploy for exercises mostly around the country. I was stationed, the places I've lived is England Air Force Base in Louisiana. I lived in North Carolina, Arizona. And then when I've been in the National Guard, I've been assigned to Philadelphia, and I've been assigned to here in Kentucky. Then when I flew A-10s, we deploy mostly domestically, lots of trips to Las Vegas. There's a huge training range out there, the old Area 51. We fly around that area. Then I've also been in deployments in Louisiana, California, been to a lot of air shows. It's real popular to have the A-10s that show up at air shows all around the country. Then in C-130s, I've flown in Central America, South America, Europe, and about the only continent that I haven't been to would be Antarctica. I've been to every continent. I've been to Chad in Africa, so I've been to every continent in the C-130.
You fly the C-130.
As a National Guardsman, my primary job is to fly for American Airlines. So I'm an airline pilot full-time, and I'm a part-time National Guard pilot. So I will come out 3 or 4 days a month to get about a 2-hour training sorting. And occasionally, when we have to deploy, then I'll fly. When we deployed Afghanistan, for example, I would fly about every 3rd day, every other day, something like that. But those are long days, flying 8, 10, 12 flight hours a day. But now it's just about 5 to 7, maybe 10 flight hours a month, 3 or 4 sorties a month. Well, that's a great question. Obviously we're standing here in front of the flag, and when you think about service, you think about the military, that's usually the first image that comes to mind is the flag of the United States. It's when I go to work at American Airlines, that's a job. We all have jobs in this country. We all work. We all go to work. We come home. But something different about military. We don't call it a military job. We call it military service. So it's an honor to serve in the military, and it's just great pride that you feel. Sometimes we don't even think about it, but we'll be at lunch. And people see us in our uniform, and total strangers will come up and buy us lunch, buy us dinner, just because they know that we've taken on the challenge of being military servicemen. So mostly that's the biggest thing, is just a to know that the country knows what we've done and to feel pride about a job well done.